I am back with a new episode of Neighborhood Game Club. I am at the mansion of Derrick Acosta of Mega64. Today we're gonna be talking about philosophy in video games. Why do we laugh? Why do we cry? Why do we play video games? Why do we waste time? There's so many questions to ask. But the only question I wanna ask is, Derrick,
yes.
Are you ready to enter the game zone?
I definitely am. Yo, what's up? I'm Derrick, filmmaker, producer, video maker with Mega64 and beyond. We're not at my house where I have my main video game collection, which is very extensive. I feel bad because Rocco gets all the credit for having toy collection and video game collection. I have a badass collection myself, but I can't show it to you today because we're not at my house. This is my anti-collection, actually. These are all the games that I tried to take to the pawn shop. This is all the stuff I was like, yes, I could get rid of this. Happy to make some money. I'll go through all these, tell you where I got them and what they mean to me. 50-cent blood on the sand. This was a gift from Rocco, actually. I'm pawning off a Christmas gift from Rocco. Thank you, Rocco, for the gift. Wasn't a very fun game, but we thought this was really funny because there's a taunt button in this game where you can call people pussies and you can call them like faggots and stuff. Resident Evil Raccoon City, garbage game. Definitely a piece of dog shit. I was so looking forward to this game when it came out, and I played it for maybe 2 hours the first night, and it was hands down the worst Resident Evil game I've ever played in my life.
I've actually beaten that game.
Really?
I got stuck on a boss though for an hour where he glitched out of the map and I had to like shoot bullets at him from like miles away.
Everything was a fucking bullet sponge. Seriously, you would unload 200 rounds into every enemy and they would not die.
Hey.
I got stuck on a boss too. You'll find a reoccurring theme. All of these games I played up to a point where I got stuck on a boss and now they're going to the pawn shop. Borderlands, I bought this, I played it, I didn't beat it. I'm not a fan of Borderlands. I'm a Fallout fan, so to me this is a cel-shaded Fallout knockoff. Borderlands advertises itself on being this huge, expansive game. It's not. It's like, this is the core game and then everything around it, all the expansiveness is like crap. Like, yeah, guns that you don't want. Oh, enemies, they're not hard. It's just like shit to do, filler. The new Tomb Raider, people really like this game. I didn't get into it. I guess it was better than the past Tomb Raider games I'd played. This game made me feel really uncomfortable because Lara Croft kept making like grunting noises. Like every cutscene was just her like, ah, ah, and I was just like, I didn't want my neighbors to hear me playing this game because I was afraid I'd get a knock on the door from the police. Hawks, this was a dogfighting game. I'm really into airplanes, and the controls for this game were so fucking confusing. It was like, hold down on the D-pad and hold the R trigger to access support commands for your left flank. Hold up on the D-pad and press X to access the menu for your missile support, and it's just like, I'm not actually commanding a real fucking army here, so I'll just find a more fun video game, which I did with Civil War Secret Missions. History Channel game. I have always said they need to do Call of Duty Civil War. Like, do it with cannons and horseback riding. Like, give me a Call of Duty game, multiplayer warfare, but set it back in an old war. And then they made this. Wasn't a Call of Duty, but History Channel must have watched the podcast, so they made this. I picked this up at GameStop, I think, for $5. Worth every penny. Played it, beat it, loved it. It wasn't very good. It was kind of just like a tech demo. You could see, like, the pictures on back. The game doesn't get more interesting than that. Basically, it's fixed camera, and then guys run at you. You have no idea how much ammo you have, and
every time you shoot, do you have to like take an hour to reload it?
Yeah, I think you get like 5 shots, and then you need to reload. It's the UI is just shitty. There's nothing on camera. Like, look at the pictures there. There's no health indicator, no map, no objectives. There is no UI to that game.
That's realistic. That's how the Civil War. They had no UI.
Yeah, they didn't have UI back in the Civil War times, so it actually is more historical.
UI wasn't invented until World War II.
Yeah, Skate 2.
That's a good game.
This is a good game.
That's one of the best games.
You know what happened? I got Skate 3.
Oh.
So I thought, I don't need Skate 2 anymore. Skate 2 is actually better than Skate 3.
Yeah,
So I better swap these out. We did a video for Far Cry 3 back in the day with Ubisoft. I actually never played.
I don't think that video ever came out. Isn't that the one where you pick up poop with your hands?
Yeah, it's like feral instincts is the thing with Far Cry. So we were bounty hunters who would like smell poop and like rub blood on our face and yeah, it was. And we filmed the majority of the video in a public park bathroom that just smelled like turds, and then Ubisoft didn't like the video. So
I think that's on your YouTube. That's only on like a DVD.
Yeah, I think that's a DVD exclusive. They paid us with copies of the game, which is cool, but I never got around to playing it.
That's pretty cool.
Another game I never got around to playing. I don't know why I have this. Blades of Time.
Oh!
Is this a good game?
It's the sequel to X-Blades. It looks good.
It's not opened. I don't know how this came into my possession. I found this in my collection. I was like, you know what? That's going to the pawn shop. I can't tell you a thing about Blades of Time.
You play as like an anime chick. It's basically like they took God of War but put it with like hot anime chicks.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe I should check that out.
Yeah,
Maybe I should hold on to that one. Dark Souls. It's hard. I couldn't beat it, so I'm over it. I know people love this game because it's hard. I actually hate it because it's hard.
So many people just turn off the video.
I know. Sorry, guys. Dark Souls, I can actually recognize Dark Souls being a badass game, and I can appreciate what they're going for, but I play video games to relax, not fucking stress out. This is not a video game. This is Evil Bong.
Oh, nice.
Tommy Chong's in this movie. We got this at Comic-Con. Somebody came by. Everybody who sees this at Comic-Con who doesn't know who we are says we're like thinks we're college kids who are addicted to drugs. They think these guys, what are these guys on that? But these guys huffing, snorting the K, the Circle K stuff. I got a DVD you're gonna love. Check it out. Evil Bong. Sleeping Dogs. I got this game. I checked it out. All the dialogue sounded like it was written by some 15-year-old who had fantasies of being in a gang, but had no idea of what it would actually be like. So all the conversations are like, hey man, I heard somebody on the street said you were a fucking pussy. Who the fuck said that? I'm gonna kick his fucking ass. Yeah. Let's go kick his ass. And then we'll find some bitches. It's just hard to take it seriously. Couldn't get into that. Mag. Ooh,
that game's offline. You can't play it anymore.
Can't even play this anymore. No point in owning it, really. This is such a sad story. Mag was billed as like 256 players at one time on your console, biggest multiplayer, like first-person shooter game ever, but the gameplay really sucked. They figured out how to get 200 people into one map, couldn't figure out how to make an interesting game. Sorry. Mag's offline now, so you can't even play it.
I feel like that's worth keeping because it's a game that's unplayable. Like, there's not many games that are like that.
I guess.
You literally can't play it anymore.
It's a famous game. Yeah, and it was online only. Yeah. There was no single player. Who would even pay money for this? Feel sorry for the kid whose mom buys this for him at Christmas. Like, I was at the store. Does this look like something you would like? Finally, Air Conflicts Secret Wars. Another dogfighting game that sadly did not deliver. Just a little bit stale. And that's all I have to say about that. Those are my games. This is the anti-game collection. These are all my least favorite games. And kind of an interesting take on the game collection.
There you go.
Now you saw it.
Of that, Blades of Time looks dope. I played Prince of Persia. There's a few games
Blades of Time, Prince of Persia, yeah. Dark Souls. There's a couple good ones in there.
History of Civil War.
That's right. And then Evil Bong.
This is the anti-game collection. What would be one of your favorite games?
They're kind of boring answers. Fallout 3, Smash Brothers, Melee, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2.
Oh, there you go.
Or Age of Empires 2. I like those old late 90s PC games. Those are the games that I can go back to and play endlessly forever.
That's a good transition because we're going to be talking about PC gaming today. Because you have a video game collection, but a lot of it's on Steam.
That's true.
I also got a gaming PC. This is brand new news. We're going to talk about it. Derrick, whoa.
You already had Garrett.
Garrett, episode 2. Garrett Hunter's back. We'll talk about cats. Welcome to Neighborhood Game Club, the podcast portion. We are back after a long hiatus.
Hello.
With Derrick Acosta, highly requested.
Wow.
Every time I upload a video, it's funny, when I first started the show, I started uploading videos with like just friends like Matthew, Bruce, Rodrigo. They're like, oh, Frank should get Mega64 on. And it's like, I didn't say anything, but it's like, Okay, like that's not gonna be.
People are aware of your connections.
Yeah, it's like.
I find that when you put stuff online, people always feel like they know your life. Like they know you personally, and they always like drop little random personal details. Like, oh, you should go to that one room in your house where you keep that thing, and it's like, whoa, thought I was the only one who knew about that. But yeah, so. Here we are.
There you go.
Mega64.
Your comments, your emails, your tweets have paid off. Yeah, it was gonna happen, and now it's happening. But I wanted you to make you wait. I wanted to build up anticipation. So people are waiting. People are,
The wait is finally over.
Yeah.
I'm here with my banana, ready to go.
All right. So before here and now, we're in the Mega64 studio. You have a production warehouse in San Diego. This is an actual, movie studio in San Diego. All the way an hour away from 2 hours away from Hollywood.
It is,
Built your own empire. Before we get to that, I want to talk about early childhood. What was like the first games you started playing? The first console you had?
So the first console I had was the regular Nintendo.
Yeah.
I remember actually, I was in first grade one day. This is actually a story that I was just thinking about the other day because I realized something. I was in first grade and I got out of school one day and my dad picked me up from school and he said, "Hey, you've been doing so good in school today. I have a treat for you." And I was like, "Really? What?" And he's like, "We're going to the toy store." And I was like, "Okay." And we get to the toy store and I'm like looking around for all the toys I want to buy. He's like, No. I know what we're getting. And he gets a Nintendo and he buys me a Nintendo and we take it home and he plugs it in and I play Mario and Duck Hunt and Ski Shooting, all those. Those were the games that came with the original Nintendo when I got it. I realize now, just a few weeks ago, I was like, my dad just wanted a fucking Nintendo.
Yeah.
It was like a Tuesday afternoon in the middle of like February. There was no report cards. I had not done good. I'm pretty sure he just saw a Nintendo commercial that morning and he's like, "Yeah, I can get this. I'll just put it in Derrick's room," because he played that Nintendo way more than I ever did. And actually, I had an older brother who had a Nintendo and I guess had gotten rid of it. It was so weird because growing up, I didn't have a Nintendo until I was in first grade, but there were Nintendo things lying around my house. Like there was an old Rob, there were Nintendo cartridges, and like the Nintendo Blaster. I remember being a little kid.
The Zapper.
The Zapper, but I would just play with it like it was a toy gun because we didn't have a Nintendo. We only had the Zapper. Apparently my brother got a Nintendo and then got rid of it. And so in like 1990, my dad got me a Nintendo. That was my first game and I loved it. And then in 1992, he got me the Super Nintendo. Like back to back, I had two consoles in my house. So growing up, I was all Nintendo.
It's funny. I had the same thing too when I was a kid. Yeah, I had an older brother who also had a Nintendo, and then same thing. I think sold it or got rid of it. But I remember I had a Super Nintendo, but then randomly with all my video game stuff was a Nintendo Zapper, and then Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Nintendo. And I was what, 5? Because I'm younger than you, but like I didn't know why these things didn't work with my toy because they said Nintendo on it, but I just had this lone Zapper, which I didn't know why. And then later, I put the pieces together.
The Zapper was so cool. I remember being a kid.
So like it felt cool.
It clicked, and I remember being a kid, and kids are stupid. When you're a kid, you don't know shit. I would hold the Zapper and push it up against the TV. I would seriously like hold it right here. And my parents were always like grabbing me, like, "No, come back, come step. You can aim from far away." Yeah. I couldn't get that concept, so I was just like, "No, I gotta make sure it knows." I was like banging the TV with the gun.
I think I did the same thing when I was a kid, like, because in the arcades in like the 90s, there's House of the Dead and Time Crisis, like all those, like Area 51. I think, same thing. I would try.
You put it right up on the screen, and what's great is when you're right up on the screen, it misses. Like it needs some distance.
It misses the calibration.
So I'm like touching the fucking birds, pulling the trigger, be like, "It's not fucking working." Being a kid.
So early Nintendo, Super Nintendo. What were some of your favorite games on Super Nintendo?
So Super Mario World, the original, I love that game. I actually beat it. I didn't get 110% as a kid. I got 102%.
Yeah.
But as a kid, I think that's fucking amazing. I was in like 4th grade and I beat Super Mario and then I did the Star World and it turns like all the Koopas into Marios. And I went back to school the next day and told all my friends about what happened and nobody fucking believed me. Everybody like treated me like I was a liar. I was like, "Guys, I did this thing in Mario last night, and it made all the bad guys look like Mario. Yeah, right. That's not possible. Mario's the good. And for like years, nobody would believe me. Honestly, it was like when I met Rocco.
Yeah.
He was the first one who actually like didn't call me a liar. He's like, oh yeah, no, I know that happens. I did the same thing. And it was just like, fuck, dude, this guy plays video games. That really was like how we bonded. I mean, we started Mega64. Clearly, we met each other, and it was like, this guy gets video games. This is amazing. Doesn't think I'm a liar. So I liked Super Mario. I loved. Do you remember a game called Lethal Enforcers?
Oh hell yeah! I didn't know there was a Super Nintendo version.
There was. I used to go to Blockbuster every Friday. My parents would let me rent a game.
Thing.
And I remember I went to Blockbuster once and I saw Lethal Enforcers on the shelf in a giant box. It was like a pizza box because it came with a gun that you could rent. And like, I didn't get it that week, and then I went back the next week and it wasn't there. And I was like, what? Who's renting Lethal Enforcers? And for every week after that, I would call them up. Do you have Lethal Enforcers in stock? No. And after 3 weeks, there's this girl. She's like, actually, we're not allowed to carry that anymore. And it was like, I never got to rent it. I only saw it there one time. Yeah. I like begged my mom, like, you have to find this game and get it for my birthday. My mom, to her credit, bought me Lethal Enforcers. I was probably in like 4th or 5th grade. I had a giant blue Magnum revolver that plugged into my Super Nintendo, and I was like the most popular kid on my block. I had a game where you could actually shoot people, which at the time was like unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I had the Time Crisis for PlayStation 1.
I had that too.
Same thing. I think we bought it like Comp USA, like, because like regular stores didn't have it, but like, yeah, we had to go to like a geekier store, and then yeah, it had so many things you had to plug in. You had to plug into the controller port, and then it gave you special like.
You had to plug it into the TV too.
Yeah,
right?
you had to plug an input. So there's all these fucking wires, but the gun still worked.
The gun still worked. Yeah, and that one had the button on the side so you could duck down.
Oh yeah.
Which I thought. I was disappointed in the arcades. They had the pedal for you could step on for Time Crisis, and they should have made that for the home version. They fucked up. But getting back to Super Nintendo, so Mario, Lethal Enforcers, and there's gotta be. I know there's like one more Super Nintendo game that I really loved.
I mean, there's like Zelda, Metroid, there's RPGs.
You know what? I actually didn't get into RPGs and Zelda and Metroid as a kid because those games, as good as they were too hard and too big. I really liked simple games, almost like the less of a story, the better. And two, I couldn't read when I was a kid. So anything that had like a wall of text, like any Final Fantasy game would just be like 30 minutes of me as a kid, like, I don't know what that says. Okay, I'm in a town. Okay, I'll go into this room. I don't know what this guy just said to me. I think this is a hotel. Okay, I'll go into another. It was like just so confusing. Yeah. I played a lot of Street Fighter 2.
That was my favorite.
That was the big one on Super Nintendo.
All my games, up until, even through PlayStation, I never got into RPGs till like, later when I was like older, like even like 360 era. I just like simple arcade games. Because as a kid, I would have so many, like I would have all these different games. I would pop one in, play for like 20 minutes, take it out, put in a new one in, and just rotate. And so every like morning would be like, all right, I'm gonna play Street Fighter 2 for a bit. I'm gonna play RoboCop 3. I'm gonna play just like whatever, just jump from game to game to game. And so you guys started Mega64 when you were in high school, and that was like early, like that was like the beginning of like PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, and like Dreamcast era.
It was kind of around there.
What were some of your favorite games of that generation of like before I would even say like the current era of video games, like 360 and beyond, like early 2000s? What were some of your favorite games?
Early 2000s, so I still had a PlayStation 1, and I think I got a Dreamcast in 1999, and so I was playing a lot of PS1 Dreamcast games, so that'd be like Tekken, Time Crisis, like we were just saying, Tony Hawk, the first 2 Tony Hawk games, and then on Dreamcast, I loved Sonic Adventure. I feel like, as far as like a debut game, that's the best debut game for any console. Yeah. Sonic Adventure still is a great game. I loved that game. Crazy Taxi. I really loved the Dreamcast, but it's hard to remember some of the games that I was playing on it. I remember I had Seaman at the time, which I thought was really crazy. It's funny because the Dreamcast had all these things that were way ahead of its time as far as like microphones, and they had the memory card that would plug into the controller that had a screen on it, and it was almost like a little Game Boy that you could pop out. The VMU, exactly. So I was playing games like that, Dreamcast games, PlayStation 1 games. I was really into like Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah.
Shit like that.
And then I know you're really, really into Melee.
On GameCube,
yeah. Same,
but that happened honestly later in life. That game came out in 2001, but I didn't get into it until like 2004, 2005.
Oh, wow.
Once I actually, so I was in high school when that game came out, but I graduated high school and got an apartment. And when I was in college, it was like all of these people I would meet had played Melee in high school, and so we kind of bonded over that. And that's when I really like developed my love for Melee. It was a few years later, and kind of everybody I knew had a few years to figure out their character, and shit got serious.
So that's kind of a brief history of console things. Now, it's funny, you're like the one person, like, the Mega64 group that, like, played computer games growing up, because, like, Rocco, Sean, and Garrett, like, none of them cared. But you are also PC gamer, because you do video editing as, like, your profession in video production, so you need a beefy PC to edit.
Yeah.
Which also grants you the ability to play computer games. I mean, yeah, so early on you mentioned, like, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Age of Empires, all those early, like, sim and RTS games.
Yeah.
But when did you kind of start shifting from, like, playing console games to primarily being PC-based?
I think, honestly, it was Minecraft.
Oh, really?
I wanted to play Minecraft, and it wasn't available on the consoles, and so... Excuse me. Yeah, growing up, like... I didn't have a PC that was, like... I didn't have a good PC, so I could never play video games on the PC, and I had so many bad experiences of seeing a commercial for something like The Sims...
Yeah.
Or Black and White, or Max Payne... that was only available on PC, and I would buy it naively thinking, like, my dad's got a computer, and I'd go home and try to run it, and, like, nothing fucking runs. You try to start the game, and the opening cutscene is, like, one frame every 2 seconds, and you're just like, I spent $25 on this.
Yeah.
Like, this was my allowance for the last 6 months. And I got so turned off on PC games, and I think that's what happened to, like, Rocco and Sean and Garrett, too.
Yeah.
We all had that shared experience of, like, PC games don't work. You have to be a fucking millionaire to play a PC game. But yeah, like you said, I was doing video editing, and it kind of occurred to me, like, hey, if I can do video editing, my computer could probably run a PC game. So on a whim, I started playing Minecraft, and then I downloaded a Steam account. I'm trying to think. Actually, it was a bunch of my friends. This is so lame. A bunch of my friends were playing the game Killing Floor on Steam, which Killing Floor is really popular, and it has a huge fan base.
Yeah.
It's not that great of a game. It's really just a time sink. And it's a fun thing to do with your friends.
Yeah.
If you've got 4 friends and you guys just want to chat and shoot shit in a very small map that's super confined, yeah, that's what we would do. We'd play Killing Floor. And then after Killing Floor got kind of bored, we started finding other multiplayer games. We played Minecraft together. Then we played Terraria. And then when those guys weren't online, you know, I started finding single-player games to play. And I kind of revisited... You know, I say I didn't play PC games when I was a kid, but I didn't play, like, badass PC games. I did play Roller Coaster Tycoon, Age of Empires, all of those, like, very small sprite graphic games. And so I started revisiting those on Steam, and then I just kind of, like, went crazy. I realized, like, this computer, my current computer, is basically like a console. I can play anything I want on PC, and that's when I started branching out. Mm-hmm. So now I do PC only for the last few years. I do it all. I do everything. I play all kinds of games.
Cause I just got a computer finally after, like as a kid, my computer sucked, but like, I played Age of Empires like 3, played Counter-Strike, like you can play basic games, but anything beyond that, like it would stutter, it would crash constantly.
Yeah.
I played World of Warcraft a lot, but World of Warcraft was designed, like the reason it became so successful so fast is they wanted people around the world to play it, so they made it so it can play on any machine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I probably would have played it.
Yeah,
had I known.
it looked crap, but like it would run. That's why people in China could play it. Like people who didn't have good money, they're like good computers, they could play it anyways. That's what like League of Legends does now. Is they make sure like if a game really wants to be successul, they make sure their thing runs on any computer.
Oh, it's smart.
So I played basic games like that, like World of Warcraft in like high school. I think I have like probably like at least 4,000 hours of World of Warcraft on it.
Whoa.
Because in 2000s there was an app called before Steam. Steam now like logs how much hours you play a game, and I like that feature. Before that, my friends and I all used a program called Xfire, to which its whole purpose was to like just mine your data just to see how long you're playing a game. And like before we stopped using Xfire in like 2010, it was like 4,000 hours. So
Does that number like bother you at all?
I think about how like,
Because sometimes I think about like things I want to accomplish in life.
Yeah.
And how much closer I'd be to that goal if I spent 4,000 hours working towards it.
I guess, I mean, yeah, like according to Malcolm like Gladwell's theory, to be a true like Mozart in like any field, you have to put 10,000 hours into it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like halfway.
You're 40% of a World of Warcraft Mozart.
That's before I stopped using Xfire. I probably put another 1,000 hours after like post Steam era. So I'm probably like 5,000 hours in World of Warcraft.
I don't think I've spent 5,000 hours on any game.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I think WoW is.
You're probably doing days and nights.
Oh no, I think there was one day where it hit me. So I was still in high school, so I used like a weekend. And you know, like when you're in high school, you're like junior, so specifically
you got nothing
junior
to do
year
and nowhere to go.
Yeah, but like specifically junior years, like you have homework and stuff, so it's like during the week you're pretty busy. I mean, at nights you're free, but like, all right, I have the weekend, I'm free. So I remember like playing all day, whatever. But there was specifically a Sunday, and when I played games, I still do today. I sit in Skype with my friends, and like Kevin's a part of our Skype group.
Yeah.
Like we all sit on Skype and talk, and like Skype shows you how long you're in a call before you hang up. So I remember I woke up like a Sunday morning. Oh, I'll get on WoW. I called up my friend Connor, and then like throughout the whole day, people coming in and out of the call. And like my goal was like I'm gonna hit level 70, which was like the level cap at the time.
Yeah.
I was like level 68, and it's like I'm gonna fucking hit level 70.
Dude.
So I started playing in the morning, talking with Connor. Connor helped me out with quests, whatever. And then Connor's brother joined the call. Oh, you guys playing WoW? I'll hop on for a little bit. Spencer would play for like 20 minutes, whatever. Then he'd leave. Like 5 hours later, he came back. Wow, you guys are still playing this? Yeah, all right. And then whatever, people joined. And then like by the end of the day, it was like I was like exhausted, but I hit level 70. I was like, oh, this is so great. All right, I got school tomorrow. I'm gonna hang up. I hung up, and it was like call duration 16 hours.
Whoa.
And I just thought like that was like one of the few times where I was self-conscious. Like I like saw that 16-hour number. It was like I think before hanging up, I was like, Connor, we've been sitting here for 16 hours.
16 hours.
Playing this thing. Or something like that. And like, and we were both exhausted, and I hung up, and that was when it was like, oh, well. And anytime I'd hit the level cap in World of Warcraft, because once you like get to the end of these games, then you're supposed to like, all right, start raiding, doing the hardcore geek shit. For me and all my friends, we just wanted to hit the level cap, and then we'd move on.
Well, yeah, you know, the thing about video games is they give you a sense of accomplishment when you're doing them. But once you accomplish everything, it's like all that sense of accomplishment immediately vanishes once there's nothing left to do.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck, I could get to the next level. I hit the level cap. And then you hit the level cap and you look, oh, it took me 143 days of real time to do this. And I don't actually have anything to show for that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when it's kind of like that sobering moment.
Yeah.
And any true gamer, I think, has those sobering moments and likes to pretend that they don't happen.
And so, like, specifically that happened with World of Warcraft. I like this. It's very therapeutic. That happened with World of Warcraft. And then, like, we would play WoW for, like, a few years, like a year months at a time. Well, we'd all reach a point, and then we'd stop playing, then get back in. And yeah, there was that sobering moment. And then, like, a year later, we were all playing. And then I was just having this is when I started getting more into video making, and, like, I think I was watching way more movies. And I was playing World of Warcraft, and it made me realize, like, there's a billion people playing this game, and they're all doing the same thing. And it's like, I have no interest in being the best, like, World of Warcraft player. I don't give a shit, whatever. There's only, like, 1,000 people making videos like I'm making videos. I could spend the amount of time on World of Warcraft doing what I'm doing and actually have stuff to show for it. And I think that was kind of the turn where it's like, all right, that's when I kind of stopped focusing so much on video games and doing my own thing. But now I got bored of that. Now I'm back into video games. So
you know what? Honestly, video games are a little bit of a trap because you only have so much time in the day to do stuff with. And at the same, like, what you said is true. And when you become, like, for me, I play less video games now than ever because I am working on more video stuff than ever before. Like, I'm doing Mega64. And I'm also doing videos on the side, just on my own, like music videos and stuff. And a lot of my time when I'm not here at Mega64 and I'm at home on my computer, I'm working on other video projects. And it bums me out that I don't have time to play video games. I'll actively think like, God, I want to play a fucking video game. Like, I want to play Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And I haven't had time to pick it up. I haven't even bought it yet because I know if I buy it, I'll play it. And then the videos I'm working on won't get done. But at the same time, when I'm playing video games, it's the flip side of the coin. It's like, I got fucking videos I want to make. Like, I want to, Yeah, there's only so much time in the world, and it kind of sucks being into video games and being a creative person. It's really hard to balance that, especially because video games are really expansive these days. They make all the best video games take over your life, and if they don't take over your life, it's like they're not even worth playing. Sort of, it's a catch-22.
That's like a huge major theme. That's like the theme of the show. Is every episode I talk with all these people who are doing things creatively, and I ask them how they balance that. And like I'm still trying to figure that out. Like with me, I feel like I go through moods, or like I think I'm just now kind of getting out of my. I go through phases where it's like, all right, I play video games for like months at a time. Then I kind of cool off, and then I'll watch movies for months at a time. Then I'll cool off. I rotate. So I think I'm starting to dip back into movies.
Well, yeah, you have to ask yourself if in a matter of balancing it, you have to decide. And sometimes you go back and forth.
Yeah.
But do you want to consume a creative product, or do you want to create a creative product? Because you can't do both at the same time. You need to be on one end or the other. You're either receiving somebody else's thoughts and creations and enjoying it, or you're creating something for somebody else to enjoy. And it depends. For me, at least, it's really like what I'm in the mood for. Because I like creating stuff more than I like consuming stuff. And I love to watch movies and play video games, but I get a lot more satisfaction out of making a video and having it be a success. But sometimes I just crave video games. So I'll just be like, I know I have a shit ton of stuff to do today, but fuck it. Like, today's a video game day, and I'm just going to play video games for 5 hours and shirk off my responsibilities. But I can't do that 2 days in a row. And I have to like be hard on myself, like, because the next day it's like, oh fuck, I want to pick back up where I left off. It's like, nah, maybe next week. And it's a little bit depressing, honestly. But I think maybe that's what it's like to grow up.
Yeah.
You know, you have to put the video games down, and you have to say, this sucks because I want to play video games, but I realize I'm not going to have enough time to do what I really want to do. And that's it.
Yeah, that seems to be like the general consensus of everyone I've talked with, and like, yeah, I do the same thing too, where it's like I'll be in the middle of like a project or like some contractor, and then there'll be like one day where I'm free, and I'll just say like, all right, this is the day I'm not gonna think about work. I'm just gonna play video games. But then like, it's once
you just have to accept that it sucks.
Yeah.
If anybody's expecting like, man, one day I'll play every video game I want, and I'll make successful stuff. And if I'm not, I won't care. It's like, no, that's never going to happen.
Yeah, you have to balance it.
You will care. It will hurt. You're not going to be able to play the video games you want to play. I haven't played anything this year. I haven't played Fallout 4. I haven't played Witcher 3. I played Metal Gear, but I found that it was sucking up all my time, and I wasn't completing my projects. So I had to put Metal Gear down, and I haven't been playing very much of anything lately. What I find myself doing is I go back to games that are easy to pick up and easy to check out of at any time. Like, I still go back and I play Minecraft.
Yeah.
I'll still go back and play a game of Age of Empires because it lasts for 4 hours and then it's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing to continue the next day. You just start a new game. So those short experiences are very helpful when you're trying to be creative, and you still want to get your video game fix.
That's kind of why, like, I was doing this show as a creative thing, and then like middle of November, I had 3 different jobs. So it's like, okay, I can't do really do this show anymore.
Yeah.
Can't really play video games anymore. So it was just like I was working nonstop. But then the game I got that like I've been really putting all my like spare chunks of free time into is Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, okay.
It's like an evolved version of Counter-Strike where it's team-based, 5-on-5, and each person picks like a specific character. So I'm gonna be the person who has like breach charges that can break down metal walls.
I understand.
So like every time you play around, everyone's a completely different character. So the environment completely changes, like different like traps and things like that you have to look out for. So it's very dynamic. So
sounds fun.
Every time you play, it's a completely new experience. And I have a group of 5 friends. We play it, and like we're really good at it. But it's great because it's like I can like if I notice I have like an hour of free time, that's not enough time to like start playing The Witcher, getting to a quest because you have to pause it. But I can do a game of Rainbow Six Siege, play for an hour, and then drop it and move on.
Yeah. In fact, I was just thinking the other day, one of the greatest games ever of all time will go down in history as one of the greatest games ever, and I think it's underrated, is Left 4 Dead.
Oh, yeah.
And Left 4 Dead 2, because that's a classic example of that. A game you can pick up, play for an hour, not have any more of a commitment than that. But really, I found in my experience, everybody has played Left 4 Dead and everybody likes it. And it doesn't matter if you're young, old, man, woman. Like, if you're hanging out with people, even if they don't like video games and you guys want to play Left 4 Dead, everybody will be into it.
Like, I even still have it installed on my computer just in case.
I think Left 4 Dead, honestly, in my mind, I hold Left 4 Dead up there with like Mario and Sonic, of just like a classic franchise and Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Like a game that came out a long time ago, but it's still just as good today as when it did.
I mean, like the core mechanics are huge of it, like the 4-player co-op thing, which now every game does that. Like,
oh yeah, well, it was like ahead of its time.
Yeah, I think it kind of got forgotten just because of this whole zombie fatigue that came out right after that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, I didn't put like too much time into it, but like the time I did have in Left 4 Dead was good. But yeah, no one ever like dismisses that game in terms of just like, oh, that game sucks. It's like, yeah, it's always been there. And yeah, I think they're working on a new Left 4 Dead. I mean, they have to be, but like I think rumors came out that they are actually working on a new Left 4 Dead.
They don't need to, honestly.
Yeah. But
the first two are good.
But yeah, Valve's gotta make more money. They gotta do more things. But yeah, playing PC games, the thing I like it is growing up with consoles. There was this whole world of games that was outside of, like a lot of real-time strategy games. All these weird weird sims like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Not that I was like wanting for that, but there's just a whole world of games that don't translate well to consoles. And now that I have a PC computer, I can play everything that's on Steam. Specifically, all these like weird ass indie games that are like so small and niche that are not going to come out on consoles. Are there any like neat indie games you discovered? Because I mean, like you talked about playing Minecraft, and that was before it was like
this week I just every once in a while I'll download games on Steam and forget that I downloaded them, and so I'll find something in my library like, when the fuck did I download this? Yeah, and that happened to me this week. I had a game in my library called Door Kickers. Which is kind of like what you were saying with Rainbow Six Siege, but it's a top-down game where, you kind of have a SWAT team, some troopers, and you have a house with some doors and there's enemies inside. It's almost like Hotline Miami meets Rainbow Six Siege, where you have to plot where you want these guys to go, and whenever there's a door, you could like go up to the door and either plant a charge on it or like put a camera on it and look through, see who's inside. And you basically just have to clear these homes of the terrorists inside. So that's what I was playing this week, Door Kickers. It's kind of like every level is a puzzle. It was fun. I liked it. That
really does sound like the indie version of Rainbow Six Siege. Like, that's not that. So is it multiplayer or just single player?
It's single player, like but you control all the guys and you have them coming from different parts of the house and stuff. So you can time it like, okay, there's a front door and a back door. I'm going to have all my guys go to the front door and put a camera on it. Oh, there's 5 guys in this room. Okay, I'll have a guy go to the back door and plants a bomb on the back door. And when he does that, you detonate the back door, so all the guys like turn and look at that, and then all the other guys like flood in from the front door and shoot them all down. That's what I was playing this week. Door Kickers.
I'm gonna check that out. Yeah, because like with Steam, I got my computer like just after Christmas because there were still sales. And that's when they had the Steam sales still going on. And like it made me realize, I feel like the entry level to gaming PC, you have to spend like a good amount of money just getting a good beefy computer. But once you've spent the money on the hardware, software is like you pay really $1 for a game. So it's like I feel like I never have to spend money on a computer game anymore. I don't have to think about it. I can just add to my wish list and then during Steam sales bulk buy. Because like I have a Mac which you can play a few games on. But like, I've always been like saving games on my wish list for Steam. So I got this computer, and then during the Steam sale, I bought like, I probably spent like $40, but $40 in Steam sales, it was like 200 games.
Oh yeah.
Like I bought like the whole Red Faction franchise for like $1, like just shit like that. So it's like now I have a million games to play. Don't have the time, but.
Yeah. Everybody was talking about Five Nights at Freddy's, I downloaded Five Nights at Freddy's for $3.50. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's an okay game.
So I can do Steam games. I can play weird ass like Korean MMORPGs.
Nice.
I can emulate anything now. Because like there's even the other game I'm playing right now in Rainbow Six Siege is Blade Chronicles, which is a Wii game, but on the computer people have made like HD 4K texture packs.
Wow.
So I'm emulating a Wii game, but playing it with an Xbox One controller. So it's like it looks great. And I do have a physical copy, so technically
don't worry about it.
Yeah. But even outside that, I'm downloading GameCube games and playing it in HD. I love it. So yeah, now I have every single like you. I have access to every type of game I want to play now. And it's kind of made me laugh at the whole, like, I hate using this phrase because it's just, but like PC master race. I get it. Like, I get like the arguments for PC gaming, and I love it. But I hate the actual term, literally the Nazi terminology term of it, using master race.
Well,
like,
you know what? I heard that term once. The first time I heard it,
Yeah.
it was obvious to me that it was a tongue-in-cheek.
Oh, definitely,
reference.
yeah.
I don't think there are actual Nazis who think that the superiority of a PC is like evident to like race class and stuff. It's a joke.
But
so many people get offended by the term PC master race. I don't find it offensive whatsoever, personally. And you think I would, but I don't.
Yeah, Hatred is a PC only game. So
there you go.
Like it's an argument for it. But I
think too, because I'm going to defend the Nazi overtones of the phrase PC master race. I think the original reference to the master race was kind of like an idealized Ubermensch.
Yeah.
The Superman.
Yeah.
Who excelled in every facet of what it meant to be a person. He was strong. He was intelligent. He was charming. He was perfect. That's what they're saying about PCs.
Yeah.
They hit that on any criteria, they are 10 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
So just to clear the air, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. That's what the term is referring to, I think.
Yeah,
that's how I interpret it. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean,
it might actually be super racist and it's just over my head. Probably is. So sorry.
If there were PC games before the Third Reich, like then then I have no issue to it. But it's been. I mean, again.
You know what? Good point. Show me one Nazi who's ever even used a PC, and then we'll reconsider that using that term. But until you show me the evidence, then they're two separate things. They're not even related.
But there's still a lot of I forget I forget what they call like console gamers, but they don't call them Jews, so I guess we're okay. But
that would be wrong. I know that would be wrong.
But there's still a lot of I think it's just anything. Once you connect video games to the internet, or if you connect opinions to the internet, there's so much vitriol and hate. Like there's so many people slinging shit back and forth. Now that I have both a PC game and every console, it's just like, why? I feel like John Lennon. Like, why can't we just be one? I don't understand why there's so many people hating. Just like, because I work, I can.
Oh, I think I know why. I think that people can't accept that they're not the best, even when it doesn't affect them in any way. Look, I can watch the Olympics and I can see that those athletes are better than me, and it doesn't hurt my feelings. But if I watch somebody who's really good at video games in a video game tournament, I say, fuck that guy. I could fucking do that. I could be better than him. And I don't know why or what it is, but there's something about electronics where there's this sense of competition. And I think it's because everybody grew up kind of with the same stuff. Everybody grew up with a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. We all started from the same place.
Yeah.
So we're all saying, in our minds, we all come from the same roots. So to say, like, you see somebody who's better than you at video games, or they say, oh, I don't play console because PC is way better. You go like, fuck you, buddy. I know where you came from. Okay, I knew you when you were just playing Nintendo just like, you're not better than me. That's that mentality of, you're not better than me, when sometimes people are better than you. That's just a fact of life. Oftentimes, people are better than you. I mean, when you think about it, you're probably the worst person at everything that you think. Like, let's take me for an example. I'm not the world's greatest filmmaker. There's people better than me at that. Mm-hmm. I'm not the funniest guy on the internet. We don't make the best YouTube videos. I don't even know what field we really are the best at, that we excel in. So, you know what? It doesn't hurt my feelings. I can accept it and still be happy.
Yeah.
Just, people should accept their shortcomings, all right? If you don't play games on PC, you're just not as good as a PC gamer.
But, like, I feel so nostalgic for it, because it's like there's been so many waves. I mean, it's funny, you guys have made a whole thing on it, Gamer Wars. But there's been so many waves of console wars and, format wars, whatever. Yeah. But, like, I feel so nostalgic. I feel like the time I was really in it, I feel like my tour of duty was PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, like, early GameFAQs era. I had the same thing. I had all three consoles, but I just remember, like, I feel like there's so much, like, like Nintendo versus Xbox versus
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Well, too, I think kind of getting back to what I said, and maybe I didn't hit my point clearly. I think people don't ever want to think that they made a mistake.
Yeah.
So when you buy a console and they're really expensive,
or your mom buys you a console.
and you can only get one, and you get the PlayStation, you're gonna convince yourself, I'm happy. My mom made the right choice.
Yeah.
The PlayStation is the best, actually, and you'll look at all the reasons why PlayStation is better.
Yeah.
And then when you have a conversation with somebody, they got an Xbox, and they feel the exact same way about their Xbox. So of course you guys are gonna clash. Because really, you're just trying to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, I think same thing when like soccer moms or soccer dads see their kids on the field and they start fucking yelling at the other team. They don't. They want to make sure their kid's okay. Not they didn't make a mistake.
They want to. Yeah, they want to make themselves feel better, and that's what I was getting at. Like when you see somebody who's really good at video games, you love video games. You want to make yourself feel better, so you say, "I can fucking do that." But when I see like I said, the Olympics, there's not that feeling. I don't need to make myself feel better. I've accepted that I'll be okay.
I think a lot of it has to do with the physical displacement. It's like with video games, you're just really everyone, even if someone who's even an athletic video gamer is still just sitting in a comfortable chair.
Well, like I said, I think that is what I mean when we all come from the same place.
Yeah.
We've all played video games. We all have a shared experience,
Yeah.
so we can relate and comment on
Yeah.
it. You know. So I just think everybody has kind of a finger in the pot. When it comes to video games, everybody's an expert. They all have their own personal experience that they could just talk forever about, and so a lot of opinions are gonna clash.
Yeah.
Sadly.
But that's why a big thing with this show is instead of I love analyzing it, but instead of actually slinging shit, I wanna look up and say, oh,
hey,
this
really?
game is neat.
I love all video games, and I don't even think PC is the best. I just think you get games cheap on PC.
Yeah, it's good. It's
and you don't have any one company trying to lock you out of anything on a PC.
Yeah.
It's a very open shared platform, and that's why I think people say it's the best. You don't have Microsoft saying, you have to subscribe to our service so you can play online, but you can only play with Microsoft users. It's anybody who has this can have it. $3 for a game.
Yeah.
You know, we're all online already. It's very open source and open. So
yeah, and you can mod Oblivion.
yeah, dude, there's the mod community. There's much bigger communities, and it's easier access. The only hurdle to get over is getting a good computer.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you need to do to join the PC community, and that's admittedly hard for people because it's expensive.
It is, yeah.
You need to spend like $1,000 on a good computer, but it's worth it.
But yeah, I was so nervous before buying it. I consulted with my friend Rodrigo. I consulted with other people oh, I'm thinking about getting this, whatever. And it was a big big bill, but did it, and now I'm on the other side and it's good. So
yeah,
if you're on the fence, it's worth it. I'm just using it so I can emulate Wii games. So you don't need a fancy computer for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Now tying back into specifically what you do, Mega64. I had this conversation with Rocco, and there's a lot of insight to it. But I want to ask some kind of the same questions. But
all right,
before Mega64, before even YouTube, before internet video, the thing that I think that I like Mega64 and responds well to is there's no video game internet humor on a professional level that I relate to or find funny. I think your guys' sense of humor is great. It's a very specific sense of humor. But it's great. It works. It's not. I don't know. It fits. Whereas so many other things that try to be funny seem to either be pitched towards younger kids or are way too abrasive, or try to hit that kind of Reddit safe internet humor thing level. But you guys are funny and it works. And there's not that many groups elsewhere doing it. But before Mega64, where did you find internet video game comedy? Because for me, the only place outside message boards. This is gonna sound weird, but I want to know if you have the same relation as Newgrounds. Did you ever watch Flash videos or anything or into that?
I did watch Flash videos, but even that, honestly, I feel there was no internet video game comedy.
Yeah,
before
I mean,
us.
I'm not saying these Flash cartoons are hard art, but it's there was I feel that it was just kids making Flash videos. Did you ever make Flash videos?
I did, yeah, and I think you might be able to even find some online still if you search hard. I did. But they weren't about video games.
Yeah.
They were often super violent.
Yeah.
Very surreal. I remember it was the guy takes a poop and then he looks at the poop and it has a face and it starts talking to him and he shoots it with a gun and then flushes it down the toilet.
See, that sounds great.
Yeah, that's the kind of Flash videos I was making. It wasn't really video game related.
Because I also made Flash cartoons too that all just penis jokes. I was a vulgar. I mean, online, seventh grades, whatever. So, but yes,
That's normal.
Yeah, but I like it because it's like I got all that out, and now it's in a medium that no one has access to anymore.
Hey, you know what? Like, I'm really fascinated with humor, and I feel like it's my job to be funny. So I've read different things about what it is to be funny, like why people laugh at stuff, what it is. And I found this one thing that was really interesting, which talks about like when you're little, your whole world is physical stuff, and it's like you're a baby, and you know babies like grab toys and they learn about shapes and they put things in their mouth, and your whole world is very like, what's in front of my face, what do I know? And also as a baby, your whole world is yourself, because you're stuck in a crib, you don't have a lot of freedom, so it's just like babies fucking flicking their own wieners and like pooping their pants and stuff. And so I was reading this article that talks about how humor evolves just like the rest of the mind evolves. So young people, all of their humor is toilet humor, and it's butt and poo-poo and inappropriate jokes. And as you get older, you find that stuff less funny, and more like conceptual stuff becomes funny to you, and just kind of like the irony of life and the disconnect between, you know, people and, you know, the way things are. And so a lot of people are embarrassed when they talk about, oh, I used to make funny stuff, but it was all just like farting and putting wieners in the ears. And they're so embarrassed. But me and Rocco and Sean did the same thing. And everybody does the same thing. That is like the natural progression of a sense of humor. And honestly, what's sad is a lot of people, I think, don't know about that, or don't think a sense of humor is important or a natural part of a personality. And I feel like a lot of people stunt the development of their sense of humor.
Because they don't cross that valley and go.
Yeah, like I said, I've read articles about humor. I've read articles about how your sense of humor changes over age. I've read articles about why people laugh and why, you know, I read this one thing that was really interesting, which was like, there's no physical reason for people to laugh. Doctors can't find out why people laugh, because everything we do serves a purpose. There's an actual purpose in the physical world for it. And so they were speculating that laughter allows people to reconcile a shit life, basically, like bad experiences, with basically having to do it. It's like if you had a job that you fucking hated, you had to clean up animal crap all day, you need to be able to laugh. You need to just shrug things off and kind of get a kick out of it and laugh, or else you'll go insane. And this thing was speculating like we need laughter to kind of like relieve the pressures of like the unhappy stuff we have to do in life. And so I read that and I was like, damn, dude, a sense of humor is like really important to mental stability and having a good life. And then I was reading about the evolution of a sense of humor. And then, like I said, a lot of people, I think, don't evolve their sense of humor. They stunt it, you know. They're like, oh, I used to be funny in college, but then I grew up. And it's just like, sadly, and then most of those people are on the internet, and then they're the ones telling you, like, these guys aren't funny. Oh, these guys are immature. And it's just like, okay. I think what you were saying about, like, a lot of other groups aren't funny, or they kind of curtail their humor to their audience. There's a lot of things that could explain why that happens, but I think a big part of it might be those people kind of lost a sense of their own self, of what they think is funny, and it becomes a job to them. And it's just like, instead of what do I think is funny, it's what are they gonna think is funny? And then their job is no longer to write jokes. Their job is to be a fucking mind reader. Which is impossible. Like, you can't read somebody's mind. And that's why I think there's so much bad comedy on the internet. It's people not being funny. It's people trying to be mind readers. Essentially. We here have always been we're lucky because, like you said, we're away from Hollywood. We're kind of isolated in this warehouse here. It's just me, Rocco, and Sean, and our friends. So we just have to bounce stuff off each other and make each other laugh and make ourselves laugh. And I think that is really, it sounds cliche, but that is what has sustained us for over 10 years. And people have always been a fan of us and have continuously said we were funny. Some people say we've lost it. Maybe they lost it. I think that, you know, just being true to ourselves, the things we did 10 years ago, I don't think all of them are funny now. You need to evolve. You need to make yourself laugh. Oftentimes, we have arguments here at Mega64 because we'll write a joke and I'll say, like, that's not funny. And one of the other guys would be like, well, we did this in another video and it was funny. And then we get into this argument of, yes, it was funny,
Yeah.
but it no longer is because we've changed. And that's, understanding yourself and your own tastes. So, I don't remember what your question was. But
My
there
question
you go.
was, did you ever go on newgrounds.com?
Did I ever go on newgrounds.com? I did go on newgrounds.com. I don't really go on it anymore.
No, there's a book about like death that Woody Allen recommended. That was all about like how humans come to realize death, like and like how they deal with it, and that you talk about like sense of humor is that. But then the book started going into about how as babies you play with your butthole and you play with poop, and I kind of stopped reading it. But like if I continued, that's what it would have been talking about.
Probably.
It was all about the physical self and like how as a baby you're obsessed with your mother and like all it's so how you evolve with sex, and it was like just weird.
Yeah. You know what's funny is
But, like,
I read a lot of
all-time humor.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
and I, like you, often am just like, what the fuck am I reading? Like,
Yeah.
I hope nobody catches me
Yeah.
reading this right
Yeah.
now. And I feel uncomfortable, but I always like to press through it because
Yeah.
I feel like there's always at least a nugget of useful information
Yeah.
that you could glean off of it. Even if, like, man, I may not ever bring up playing with your butthole as a baby, but I can understand the point they're making.
Yeah,
and
now I understand it.
apply it to something else.
Now I totally understand it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But like the thing is like I understand there's a lot of the content on the internet's made for like teenagers or whatever, but like I'm fine with it because it's like I was a teenager and there was like there's stuff made for different groups and that's great.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the one thing I hate is when people the one thing I'm intolerant of is when people are intolerant. But like when people see something that's clearly not meant for them and are like, this is stupid, this should be this, and it's like, well, it's not made for it's not made for you.
The thing that I don't understand in regards to that is people always tell you this shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
When they don't like something, and I feel like, what is the benefit of having less of a creative product?
Yeah.
Like,
Less
okay,
choice.
at Mega64, sometimes we'll make a video and it'll be funny, maybe it'll be kind of funny, but there'll be a comment like, why did you guys even bother? Why did you make this? Why did you waste your time and why did you waste my time? And it's like, okay, let me answer you. We bothered because we were trying to entertain you and we wanted to make you laugh. And I'm sorry that we attempted that and failed. But would the world be better if we never even attempted? Like, what is the point of that comment? Should we not try to make you laugh?
Yeah.
Should we not, like, attempt to entertain you? People get so bummed out when something falls flat for them, but yeah, you should just recognize, like, hey, this guy's trying.
Yeah.
And at least he's trying.
I mean, like a lot of people who don't make stuff, their first attempts at creativity are stifled and trampled by comments like that.
Yeah.
And then they shut down and don't make any more. And like, yeah, if you want to make stuff, you have to like just over time develop a thick skin to it. Because yeah, if the first time you make stuff, it's gonna suck. But if you're making it, it should be special to you and you focus on that. But yeah, if you listen to like internet comments like that, why'd you make this?
Yeah.
If you be like, oh, why did I make this? I'm gonna stop making this. Then yeah, there'd be nothing in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like being funny, so I'll always make stuff that is trying to be funny. And if people don't like it, I don't give a shit. But I think some people, sometimes people try to make something that's funny and they're just not a funny person.
Yeah.
You ever notice how everybody's like a fucking comedian nowadays?
I mean, that's why like
everybody's trying to be
Yeah.
hilarious, and it's just like you can't. Not everybody in the world can
Yeah.
be funny. Like some people need to accept that it's just not going to happen.
I mean, that's like my general distaste for social media. I spend way too much time thinking about this, but like there's this like voice that everyone writes in on the internet, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Reddit, whatever. It's like this like soft like sarcasm, like, oh, gotta go to work
Yeah.
today. I can't wait to go in. It's gonna be so fun. Like everyone writes in this this super meek like haha voice.
Nobody has the balls to be serious.
Yeah.
Nobody has the balls to be like, hey, work sucks. They have to do it with a joke. Not even the balls to be serious, but I think people are afraid to just embrace their own personality.
Yeah.
Like I have always been told I'm a funny person. I know I'm a funny person. I say stuff sometimes and people laugh at what I'm saying, and I'm not even trying to be funny. So I have had to accept that I am funny, and it's almost been a curse, honestly, because I want to be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I want to make dramatic films. I want to make horror movies. I want to make romances. And sometimes it's hard for people to take my ideas seriously because they think I'm joking or they just see me as a funny guy. That's an obstacle that I've had to overcome, and I've used it to make Mega64, and now I work on something that's funny, so it feeds into my talents. I think there are other people out there who would be good at like doing serious videos on YouTube, but they feel like I need to be funny or else nobody will watch this. And that's not being true to yourself.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I always get back to when it comes to video making is you need to do something that you love in your heart. Doesn't need to be what anybody else expects. It needs to be what you want.
And that's, I mean, like, that's the reason I started this show, this thing that people actually really enjoyed is because, like, I used to go to the UCB all the time, watch sketch comedy and improv, and I loved it, but I just got busy and couldn't go up there anymore. So I kind of stopped consuming comedy, so I stopped thinking about comedy. And so when I wanted to make videos, I was like, well, I can't think of anything funny, whatever. But then I was like, but I was working all the time and commuting. I was listening to podcasts and interviews, and I was like, well, I love that.
Yeah.
I wanted to make that. But when I was about to make it, I was so nervous because it's like, I'm going to upload this anything I've ever uploaded on my YouTube account before, like, this whole series, it's always in, like, this, this, like, performer, this character, some kind of facetious. There's always a wall where it's like, this is a sketch, a short. But then the first episode, it's very sincere. It's like, hey, I'm Frank. I like video games. I'm going to talk about it. I've never done anything like that. And I was like, are people going to like this? Are people, like, I was, like, scared. But I did it because, like, well, I'm not, I want to make it, and people like it and responded to it. But yeah, there's definitely a fear of that. And it's the same thing, like, I like Derek and I always talk about Woody Allen because he's my favorite, but, like, it was that. He started out as a comedian, and the first time he wanted to make, like, serious movies, people, like, he's made films that are dramas. People laughed at his dramas, and it was kind of be like, no, that's why he stopped putting himself in movies, because it's like, no, this is a serious film, don't laugh at it. And it's funny, even like my first time in high school, I like asked out a girl. I was like really, really popular in high school for being funny. And the first time I like very sincerely like asked out a girl, she like laughed at it and thought like I was joking. And that like, and like
dude, the curse,
like
the comedian's curse,
like it was
nobody takes you seriously.
Yeah, it was like it sucked. And like
I remember like I would do plays in high school. I'd be the last play and I'd try to say something heartfelt to the cast.
Oh,
like,
same thing.
Man, guys, it's been like such an experience. I've grown so much, and people start laughing, and I'm just like, and that's it. Good show tonight.
Yeah,
like you don't want to go on because it's just like it hurts feeling like nobody takes you seriously.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like you said, being a comedian, you got to get a thick skin.
Yeah, totally.
You get over that.
You just develop like, but and that sometimes happens too. Is like I'll recommend movies on like social media, but because everyone on social media writes in this joke voice. Like I remember like when Spring Breakers came out, I generally love Spring Breakers. I know it's a divisive film, but I was tweeting like, oh, this is amazing, blah, blah. Everyone was like, ha, 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 yeah, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's fucking good.
You know what,
it's good.
I think people, at least for me, because I've been guilty of that too, and maybe sometimes I'm afraid to give a serious thought because I don't want people to think differently about me. If you didn't know that I actually felt that way, I'm afraid that it would change your opinion of me. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe that's a lot of what it is out there. People just again thinking of their audience instead of themselves. So sad day.
Yeah. But no, I think that's good. I
too like Spring Breakers.
Yeah, so there you go. Now you know what it's really like. The shield is down. There's no facetiousness like Spring Breakers, and I'm not afraid to say it. But no, that's why it's kind of healthy. Is like when I was in college making videos all the time. I was really fucking into, not really, but I was really into YouTube and making stuff like a few years ago, and then I kind of cooled off on it, and now I actually like make videos as a job and get paid to make videos, not for my YouTube channel but for other things. But now it's like, that's why it's kind of refreshing coming back with like more experience and being like, all right, what else can I do? And so sitting in front of a camera talking about making videos is my video. But that's you guys. Nice. It's funny, even just in this little conversation, we talk about a lot of things I want to ask. But tying back to video games, so you guys work in the video game industry, and I tell this to like Rock a lot, I tell this to you guys a lot. Is like you guys got in on the ground floor of like making videos about video games before anyone was doing it, before YouTube, and then YouTube came out. You guys put your videos up, blew up. You guys still never like like the top channel, but you guys have always been around. You guys talk about this, and now the internet video has transformed. People aren't so much making like short films anymore, sketches anymore. Now it's just streaming. I'm gonna stream myself playing video games or talk about video games. But you guys haven't, like, you guys have done like some things like PS4 streams, whatever. But like your business is still making short films and sketches. And now that the whole like vibe of the internet, the mainstream, whatever, people have shifted away from that. You guys are still there. and like at the peak of it now. And it's cool that Nintendo and companies will still contract you to make videos, knowing like, well, who do we need to make videos? There's not that many people, but you guys are still there. But I talk about this with Rock. I talk about this with everyone. Is like the whole like Twitch streaming thing is like still very alien to me. I get it, why it's a phenomenon. Because as a kid, I would go over to friends' houses and watch them play video games, and we'd hang out all day, and like even just hang out with someone playing a single player game, we'd hang out and talk. But like as an adult, I like still don't. I personally don't see the appeal in watching someone else play video games, but that's like the thing now, and I don't really get it. But I'm curious, like, what? There's not a direct question, but it's like, what is your thought on that whole like this whole phenomenon of where internet video has gone to and streaming? Do you think it'll sustain itself?
All right, let me get deep for a second.
Yeah.
I went to the doctor a few weeks ago for a checkup, and they made me fill out this questionnaire before I went in there, and the questionnaire had all this stuff on it, like, have you felt depressed lately?
Yeah.
Have you felt anxious about talking to strangers lately? And I was like, no. Basically, I was like, no, I'm a happy person. I answered that. I didn't.
Yeah.
And then when I talked to my doctor, he was looking over my thing, and he like almost didn't believe that I'd put all that stuff. He's like, you are the least depressed person I have talked to all month. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. Then he kind of just shrugged, and he's like, yeah, there's kind of an epidemic of depression and anxiety going on right now, so you're really lucky. And that's all he said about it, but it kind of just made me think about the world. Like when he said that, it was like, is there? And I kind of just thought about like everything we've experienced, and I started thinking like, I think the internet is kind of ruining people's lives a little bit. I think it's making people very comfortable in their own home. And this is going to sound cliche, and you've all heard this before, but I think it's true. Like, when you are on a computer, you socialize less with people in the real world. When you socialize less with people in the real world, you don't develop skills at being good at, like, making friends, going to events with strangers and stuff. And when you get into that mindset, I think it's really easy to kind of be satisfied with simulated friendships. And I feel like people have said this about Mega64, which is why they watch our podcast, because it's like a simulated friendship. And I think that's kind of what the whole thing about Twitch is. Like you said, when we were kids, we would go over to our friend's house and watch them play video games.
Yeah.
So watching somebody do that on Twitch is almost exactly the same thing. The only difference is that that person's not your friend.
Yeah.
And you can't talk to them, and they don't know who you are. But for a lot of people, that doesn't matter. Like it's good enough just to have the simulated experience.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that means for the future or what that implies about people in general, but I think that is an explanation for it. I think that computers have become so ingrained in our life that it's the number one tool for getting your socializing done through. And the computer, like, you know, I heard about these people called techophiles.
Yeah.
And they're people who cannot become sexually aroused without a computer being involved. And it's an actual medical condition where it's basically you're addicted to internet porn.
Yeah.
To the point where if you had an actual girl there who wanted to have sex with you, you wouldn't be able to do it because your body is so used to going to Pornhub and watching a video that it like you get wired to like that's what gives me an erection. That's what a sexual encounter is. And these people, they're techophiles because they can't have sex with real people. They can only have an orgasm through the use of a computer. And I think it's a similar thing, not sex, but just having a friendship through a computer. There's some people who have been wired to only experience that kind of satisfaction when there's the safety of being in their own home and not having to be out in public. So that's like, Twitch in a way is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because I don't see that trend going away. I see that trend getting bigger.
Yeah.
Which is sad because I don't think it's a healthy trend, but you know what? I just observe it. I'm not here to change anything. I just see it happening, and I think it's going to happen more and more, and I think Twitch is going to get bigger. I think if you saw a Twitch person who nurtured that kind of relationship, who was very open about like, hey, you guys are all my friends, and tried to have that simulated friendship experience, you'd see that person become a superstar. And Mega64 isn't out to do that. We set out to make videos and make movies. I think that there are people who set out to be just personalities. And like, I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care if I'm reading a book in front of a camera. As long as I'm in front of a camera and you can watch me do it, that is the product I want to make. And I don't even hate those people as long as they're open about it. I mean, if they're not shameless, more power to you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I feel about Twitch and the streaming phenomenon and playthroughs. And I don't think that's going away. I think that's going to get even bigger.
Yeah. Because, like, a big trend, and I've talked with, like, friends about this, is, like, before, video games have also become definitely a social trend or a personality trend, however you want to define it. Whereas, like, before that, there was just vlogs. Personalities made vlogs, whatever. And then YouTube got really big into video gaming, and now, like, iJustine or whatever her name is, she didn't start out doing video game shit. She just started out doing a vlog about, like, her horses or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now...
some other bullshit.
Yeah. And then she got sponsored by, like, video game companies to start talking about video games. And now she's, like, co-hosting, like, video game award shows. And it's, like...
that's wonderful.
And it's, like... And again, like...
Oh, that's so indicative of the community.
But, like, really, and that's what... They've all gone to video games. And maybe there'll be another thing, like, another... Video games will go... I mean, video games will go away, but, like, they'll jump onto another thing. But, like... Because, yeah, with me, like, the big reason I don't play Twitch... Whatever, I don't play video games on whatever the fuck, Twitch stream or whatever. I want to play video games. I just want to, like, veg out, you know?
Exactly.
Like, yeah, I just want to play shit. I don't want to sit there and, like, have to perform. For me, video games, I just want to play video games.
I don't do stuff on Twitch, and I don't even like talking to people over the headset in a chat when I'm playing a video game.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people will be like, hey, you want to just get into a chat? I'm playing the game, but you can play whatever. It's like, no, because I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit here, play this game quietly, and fucking veg out. Yeah, I veg out when I play video games.
Yeah,
So
I have, like, a few group of friends where I'll talk to on Skype. But, yeah, in, like, public games, I won't talk to people. Yeah, I just want to fucking... I don't want to engage. I just want to play video games. Because, like, I'm already so constantly engaged outside of it that when it comes to video games, I just want to do it. Also, I, like, will sometimes pause a game to, like... Go to the bathroom, masturbate, whatever, you know, like,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have time. I can't sit for 8 hours.
Can't show that on camera.
I can't sit for 8 hours on camera without, you know, blowing my nose or masturbating. So that's why this podcast is only an hour long.
That's right.
So, you know, but yeah, I like recording something, making something, fine-tuning it, and then putting it out there. But, like, you guys, when you guys first started, used to get so many emails. Hey, what cameras do you guys use for your videos? What do you edit with? What do you think I should do?
Yeah.
And now, like, people watch your stuff and great, but there's definitely kids who still want to make movies, and that's great. But, like, yeah, there's less of a drive to just pick up cameras and make stuff. I mean, thankfully now everyone has a camera on their phone, but now content is more a 6-second vine of something quick and funny. But, like,
well, too, I think that we are kind of like grandfathers of the internet now. Like, I think that we inspired a lot of people.
Definitely.
We inspired a lot of people who went on, and then those people are inspiring people. So I bet it's those people who are getting asked the questions now, because I know that, like, we started in 2003.
Yeah.
Just fuck, dude, 13 years ago. And then biggest channel around a few years ago was Freddie W. And I know Freddie W. He started a few years after us and was a Mega64 fan. So he may have been one of those people who's like, yo, what kind of camera do you use? Blah, blah, blah. And then he went on, and now he's huge.
Yeah.
And there's other channels too. I know Game Grumps is a big fan of ours, and Corridor Digital. I'm not going to list them all, but I know I've met a bunch of people who are like, oh, man, I was watching your videos when I was in high school. And it's funny to me because I see them as like, wow, because you have like 20 million more subscribers than we do. We inspired you. And I've always thought of us as like, we're not Nirvana. We're the band that inspired Nirvana. Yeah. We are Flipper, which I know is a band that inspired Nirvana. That's like, and it's kind of sucks to be that in that position sometimes, but I can accept that, you know, like, I don't know if people are less interested in creating stuff, and because people are definitely asking us less of like, how did you do that? Instead, I think that they're watching other channels and maybe asking them, like, maybe the questions now are, how do you do those VFX?
Yeah.
Or, you know, how do you upload your fucking shit to Twitch? Because that's what I want to do. But I think that the people that we inspired actually went far. So maybe our time to inspire people is over. We're a little bit older.
But you know, it's funny because, like, even last time I was at GDC, some guy came up to you. I forget his name, but, like, he was, you know, he's friends with you guys, big fan, but, like, he's the head of the video department for Epic Games, who makes all the trailers and everything. And it was like, yeah, so the people who are watching you are fucking, like, heads, like, video production heads for major companies and stuff. So it's like, but again, it's great that you guys are respected by the people. I don't want to say it's so condescendingly, but, like, the people who matter watch you guys.
No, like Mega64 is such a weird experience because I think that we're very talented, and I think that we're very successful, and people respect us. It's almost like we have street cred in the video game industry, but we don't have mainstream success. We don't see the kind of success that other channels that are newer than us see, that other channels, honestly, that don't work as hard as us see. And I can't even explain it. I tell Rocco and Sean that there is a Mega64 curse. There's a Mega64 curse. Whenever we get passed up for a job that would be so big of exposure for us to the mainstream, I always just chalk it up to, hey guys, Mega64 curse. We always, we try hard, we work hard, we keep our nose to the grinder. We're not going away. We've been doing this for 13 years. We'll be doing it for 13 more years. But we're always just missing it. And I don't know why. You know what I think, though, what I always tell myself, and I actually believe this, is I believe a star is born every day. Mm-hmm. Today it's this person. Tomorrow it's that person. Yesterday it was somebody else. Honestly, whoever, look at Fred.
Yeah.
Fred had the #1 YouTube channel. He made movies with Nickelodeon. We were just talking about this. Where is he today? Nowhere. Fred, he was a star who was born, and that star has gone supernova. That's the matter of things. So in a way, I see man, we haven't had our mainstream success, but we also haven't burned out yet. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a moment where Mega64 becomes super mainstream, gets super huge, and then gets deflated, and people move on past us, and it's almost like a ride, and I'm just waiting for my turn to take the ride. Star is born every day. Yesterday was that person. Tomorrow it's going to be somebody else. Everybody gets a turn. I'm just waiting for my turn.
Yeah, I still think of that too, because as when I was younger, I was obsessing with the idea of Orson Welles, fucking same thing. Star was born when he's 23, but by the time he was 40, he was fat, broke, and had nothing, whatever. And it's okay, well then I could be
But Steve Carell was a real estate agent until he was 35, and then didn't get on the Daily Show till he was almost 40, and then got The Office, and now one of the biggest celebrities in the world, and I mean had to 35 years of being a nobody.
Lived a life,
just trying to make it as a comedian, and then became the biggest star in the world. So it's stories like that prove to me it's it can happen at any point in your life. It can happen when you're 20. It can happen when you're 40. It happens when it happens, and you just need to work hard and be ready for when the moment has come. You're ready. So that's why Mega64 will always be around, plugging away.
To succinctly, I mean that's everything I want to mostly talk about. But I wanted to ask quickly. So you guys are naturally funny. You make you guys laugh by just pitching things to each other. But when it comes to generating ideas for videos, we experienced it yesterday. We just saw something in the news and made a video on it. But do you guys load up a video game news site and just pick things, or how do you just generally come up with a quick video idea? Where do you pull your information from?
Generally, here's a thing we do often is we go to the video game news sites, so we see what's big in the news right now, and I think that is easy and kind of cheap. I see that it's topical humor, and so topical humor will always be relevant right now, but it won't be relevant maybe a year from now. And the further away from that event, the less relevant the video comes. And so I think it's important to have a video that has traction. We've made a couple videos that were funny when we made them, and they're funny now because they don't have to do with any news story. And so we always start by checking the news sites, seeing if there's a good story that we could make a video about. But in the back of my mind, I know a topical video is not the best video because it has a certain shelf life. And I was reading this article about this TV show on MTV in the mid-90s called The State.
Yeah.
And people talk about The State was just as good as SNL or Kids in the Hall, but nobody remembers it anymore. It's not even available on DVD. Nobody talks about it. And then this person was theorizing, he's and that's because The State was too topical. Every single gag they made was about something that happened in 1994. And you can't watch it today. I mean, you could recognize these are funny people, but the gags aren't going to hit you because all those feelings have worn off. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. We always mine the news stories for ideas, but that's not our main thing. A lot of times, because like I said, a big thing for me is being true to yourself. I am always doing something. I'm always into some new interest in my personal hobby. I remember a year ago, I was really, hey, somebody's here.
Hey.
A year ago, I was reading about conspiracy theories and Alex Jones stuff, whatever. And then you remember when Grand Theft Auto Online came out, there was all this shit with it, not working properly or whatever. Grand Theft Auto Online, this is kind of a topical video because it coincided with the government shutdown happening.
Yeah.
So at the same time, there was this big news story that everybody was talking about. But at the same time, I had just in my own personal life been watching a lot of like Alex Jones conspiracy theory videos. And that's a big inspiration for me. Whenever we do a video, it's, hey, what was I watching on YouTube for 10 hours the other night? Because that was interesting and that could make a good video. I always find that it's way better to have a video that is interesting rather than it being funny. Because any video can be made to be funny, but not every video can be made to be interesting. So if you have an interesting topic, the video will always be way better than if you're just trying to be funny about a stupid topic. And trust me, we've made videos where we try to be funny about a stupid topic. Look at Sit Quitters. If you want to see that, a video about how sitting down is worse than smoking, so you should quit sitting down. That was a very stupid topic, but we'll just be funny about it and it's whatever. But chin down, eyes up, we were in the store and we noticed that every cover had the same thing. And it was like, oh shit, there's something going on here.
And that was a trend for like 5 years.
Yeah, and nobody has ever commented on this, and that video kind of lasted. So I always try to think back of what I've actually been doing recently in my own life that has captivated my own attention. And so it's funny because recently I've been watching videos about weird sexuality, people who are attracted to automobiles, people who are into adult baby stuff. And now I'm trying to think of okay, how am I going to get an adult baby into a video? Because it's always I try to take inspiration from the stuff that I am involved in. Sometimes I listen to, here's a good example. Here's a perfect example. We did a podcast a few weeks ago. And at the end of the podcast, maybe you watched this. This was early January 2016. If anybody watching this wants to reference the podcast, at the very end, I said, all right, we're going to end the podcast with a song. And I started doing one note, pretending to play drums. And in my mind, I was like, I'm not going to end this song. I'm going to keep this song going for as long as possible. I'll slow my drum beat down to as slow as I can go. And then when it's that slow, I'll just start speeding it up again. Raise the energy back up. I had been inspired. The night before, I went to a rock and roll concert. Seriously, I was at a concert and there was this band playing. Shout out to the band Earthless. I love Earthless as a band, but they played one song that would not fucking end. It seriously went on for 10 minutes, and that's what they were doing, slowing the beat down on the guitars, and then raising the energy again, and everybody in the crowd would start cheering, and then everybody kind of get exhausted, and I saw people getting sweaty, and I was just sitting in there thinking at first I was into the song, yeah! Then I was getting kind of annoyed, dudes, it's fucking 10 minutes! Fuck, come on! But then it was kind of something clicked and I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. I was like, these guys, they're in fucking control. This song can go for 24 more fucking hours. When they've mastered the art of not stopping a song. And in my mind, I thought I need to use this in a video somehow. And then you could see it come out in the next night because during the podcast, I was like, oh, this is the moment. Yeah. I always try to find inspiration in things that are outside the world of comedy and see how I can apply them to the comedy.
And outside the world of video games, too.
Yeah, and outside the world of video games, even in a really weird way. So that's a perfect example of how I was inspired by a rock band to do something funny in our podcast, which is one of our videos. Yeah. And I always look, honestly, and I'm into the band Earthless, and I kind of noticed a thing about them that makes them unique, and I said, it's this one little nugget. And I could take that and I could kind of skew that and do it in my own videos. And that's how I try to get inspiration for videos. I remember there's a Beatles song called You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. Have you heard that song?
No, I haven't.
John Lennon wrote this song. The lyrics are just, you know my name, look up the number. He repeats that over and over for the whole song. And it starts with you know my name. Boom. Look up the number, and then it devolves into kind of a lounge act of just, you know my name, you know my name, you know my name, you want to look up a number. And they get so fucking weird, and I have yet to find a way to do this. I promise you, I'm trying to think of a way. I want to make the you know my name, so look up the number of internet videos.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you at this moment how I'm going to do it, but I love that song so much. I think it's so brilliant. There's just something about taking one phrase and repeating it over and over in every different style you can imagine to the point where it gets ridiculous. I think that's funny when they do that in that song. I don't know how I'm going to apply that to a video game video, but that's another example of some inspiration of just like, I see what this guy's fucking doing, and I can do that in my own way. So...
Well, when Derrick finally finds it, people were
now you'll know.
Back. People will be looking at this video 100 years from now, saying this is the day that changed the world.
It is. Keep an eye out for the you know my name. Now look up the number of internet videos. We're gonna do it somehow.
We're gonna keep this going because we're going straight to emails. Welcome to the email portion of Neighborhood Game Club on my brand new podcast set. I've taken it over. I bought it. Got a good deal on it. Derrick and I had a very good conversation. Now we're going to have some real heavy-hitting questions. That's why I need the whole team here.
Okay.
Derrick and I talked about you guys' business, your ideology, and everything, but now I need the whole team here for these things.
Hey.
Jacob asks, what's your favorite racing game?
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart?
Yeah.
Which version?
Double Dash.
Which version? Double Dash.
Double Dash. Controversial answer.
That is controversial.
But that's my favorite one.
That's the one I've never played.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
My favorite Mario Kart... Oh, yeah, this is Sean. He's a guest.
Hi, sorry.
Derrick's the main guest, but this is Sean, first time. My favorite Mario Kart's 64. That's the one, like, I've played with friends,
my least
played all over...
favorite.
Whoa!
Least favorite. Ugly. Nothing to unlock.
Yeah,
I didn't. I remember when that came out. I was bummed. I like the Super Nintendo one a lot more.
You can play as Wario in the N64.
Yeah, that's true.
Classic. Burnout Paradise.
Oh, Burnout is a great game. That's a great game.
I still haven't played Burnout Paradise, but my answer is Burnout 3. That's the one I played the most.
Ooh.
Burnout 3 and Burnout
You would like
Revenge.
Burnout Paradise more.
What, is that the crashing one?
Yeah.
Well, they're all crashing ones.
Oh, they are.
Burnout Paradise.
I didn't know that.
Paradise is open world.
Yeah.
It's like, I think they modeled it after Los Angeles, sort of. And
Oh, cool.
every stoplight in the city is a different challenge, either a
Oh,
race
that's cool.
or a hitman challenge, or
Yeah.
and then at any time throughout the whole city, you can go into crash mode and just try to cause as much destruction as you want. So great game, and you can unlock a flying DeLorean.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Rocco, what's your favorite Mario Kart game?
Honestly, I feel like
Great.
I feel like they perfected it with the last one on the Wii U.
That's your favorite one?
I honestly
Hey,
think
it was great.
That or I thought the 3DS one was really, really, really well done. So either of those, honestly, are probably my favorite. Those are
3DS?
probably my favorite racing games.
3DS is tough though because like playing with a group of people like on a TV screen with Mario Kart.
Sure.
That's
But
like
but it actually had decent online play, and like I still was able to play with other people. But I know what you mean. It's better on a console.
Yeah.
64 is still the best.
Hey, I like 64 too. I'm with you.
I never really, I never cared about like Gran Turismo or any hardcore racing games like that. I like arcade games. Yeah, Mario Kart.
Yeah,
I
I can't play it if it's
Burnout.
straight. Yeah.
The other games I like, they're bad now. But as a kid, I really loved Cruising USA.
Oh, I
on N64.
love
Yeah,
Cruising
Back
World.
in the
Did you play
day.
this?
Yeah, it's classics.
Yeah, there's Cruising USA, Cruising World, and then they did Cruising Exotica.
That's when I dropped off.
Midway is like now defunct, but they should do a new one. Those games are ugly, but like if you look at them now, like the thing that's funny with Cruising USA, when you cross the checkpoint or the finish line, it's a bunch of bikini babes handing you a trophy. It's like, bring that back.
You
Where's
know
that
what
going?
I loved was Wave Race 64. Have you played that game? I loved that game.
I should say too, like the only other racing game I care about at all, like I don't care about any of them except Mario Kart, and just below that, the Wipeout series. Wipeout on PS3, and even the PSP had a great Wipeout game. Like I liked all those games a lot. And I will say, Cruising USA, I did enjoy that at the time, sort of, but I remember getting it for my birthday. I was like 7th grade or whatever, and turning it on, and you couldn't. Nintendo made them cut out where you could hit the cows.
Oh,
Like there'd be cows in the road, and in the arcade you could kill them,
you get 'em.
and you couldn't do that on the 64. So I was deflated that
Wow.
day. It was the worst 12th birthday of my life.
but if you go in first person mode, you can still hit flies. So flies.
Flies
Yeah,
you can
flies
hit.
do, yeah.
Yeah, but with
It's
a
the
fly,
little
the
guys.
cow. Hey, PETA, F you.
And then
You
the
wrecked
only
it.
other racing game I played, I don't know why, but Project Gotham Racing 2 on Xbox.
Yeah,
I think
never played that.
I think it was because it was the first like online game I had,
Oh,
so I played
sure.
that online. Xbox. My memories with that game specifically, Xbox One, Xbox the original, you could burn soundtracks. So I had the Slipknot album burned onto it.
Nice.
So I replaced the Project Gotham Racing 2 soundtrack with like Slipknot and some other punk album.
Yeah.
And just those two soundtracks permeated every single game on that console.
Yeah.
So I played Project Gotham Racing with Slipknot. I played SSX, or no, like or Amped 2,
Yeah.
Amped 2 with as Slipknot. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, that was the other album.
Yeah.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, I remember playing a lot of Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball using that feature, and I think I had ripped a System of a Down album was the only because I think the Xbox that I had could only rip legit CDs. It couldn't rip CDRs. And the only legit CD that I had was my brother found a System of a Down album. So it was lots of volleyball set to my cock is much bigger than yours.
Cool. I also forgot SSX Tricky. I played the
Yeah.
crap out of that game. Love that game.
They revived SSX like
Yeah,
years
what
ago.
happened with that?
I bought it full price and I never played it. So I helped.
I don't know a
but-
lot of people who tried it.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't try it.
Extreme Sports like burned out after like the PS2 era.
Yeah.
But you know.
Sorry, X Games.
Other question I have is so that was from Jacob. Liam asked a question. Is about bad games. Is there a game, any part of a game that gives you a PTSD feeling when thinking about it? Something that really stresses you out? He talks about how Donkey Kong Land was the only Game Boy game he had. It was really hard and shitty, but like, so anytime he hears music from it, he like gets sick to his stomach.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, is there any game that like just triggers you or just like just gives
That's
you
a
bad
good
vibes
question.
to think
Yeah,
about?
actually, there's a game I love that I'll never play again, which is Batman Arkham Asylum, the first
Yeah.
one, because there's a part where you have to go into the sewers to fight Killer Crocs.
Yeah.
That was so just stressful for me. I beat it, but just thinking, going back to like, I want to play that game again, I always think, yeah, but then I'm gonna have to go in the fucking sewers and fight Killer Croc. I'm not doing that.
That's how it is in any Dark Souls game. There's always I think it's called Blight Town in Dark Souls 1, where you go there, you can't see shit. It's really dark, but also if you get hit, you're poisoned and your health goes down really fast. That's like the hardest part of the game. So like I won't ever replay those games just because of that.
Right.
Blight Town.
Blighttown. But specifically with me, I'm trying to think like Derek and I already talked about this. When I think about World of Warcraft, I loved that game, but I spent 4,000 hours. I got so fat because of that game.
Yeah.
That when I think of WoW, it's like I mean, like I like that game, but at the same time, like that crushed my social life to a degree.
Yeah,
so it's
sure.
like never again.
Yeah.
Anything with you guys?
I'm trying to think of something. I don't.
You know, for me, it's funny because it's not really that hard for me now. But in the old Final Fantasy games, Final Fantasy VI had the, man, I'm blanking on the name now, the Tower of, what was it? There was an optional tower. Mm-hmm. Was it optional? I think maybe you had to go to it, but you didn't have to go to the top.
No.
Tower of Zozo or something?
The last area, one of the last areas, where you fight all these dragons.
Yes.
If you wanted to get all the armor, all the weapons, you had to fight all the dragons, or you could just rush through it.
I just remember playing that as a kid, honestly, with my mom. My mom was playing through that game, and it was like an all-day ordeal to get to the top of that mountain, that it was like, oh my god, is this even worth it? I should turn this off. And it's funny, now, those games are a lot easier when you're older. You have a much better concept of strategy and stuff like that. So I could probably do it, but I still, I see that area, I hear the music, and I'm like, no, I don't want to go back.
Mine is, it's nothing crazy or whatever, but hearing Link wear those iron boots.
Yeah.
These things like just
Reminds
the sound
you.
of the boom, 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 boom. It's just like I just know it's a water temple, and I just know it fucking.
Yeah,
sucks.
water
that's
temple.
another big
Water
one for
temple. That's a
people.
big one.
But
That's
the
a big
iron
one.
boots to me is synonymous with the water temple. Just hearing that, it's like I don't want to deal with this.
That's a really good one. I wouldn't have thought of that one. That's a definitely good one.
when I played Ocarina for the first time, I heard about the water temple. I just used the guide, but even using a guide, it still took like 2 or
It was a
3
bitch,
hours
yeah.
just
Yeah.
lowering the levels and things.
Yeah.
Like
I wish I would have thought of the
I think
fucking
there was a
guy.
part in the original where you could get trapped forever in the water temple. So
Yeah,
it was actually,
wasn't there? Yeah.
that temple was broken.
yeah, there's glitches in those games.
God, that
I think they fixed all that
fucking
when they did the 3DS
Yeah,
one, but
they remodeled.
I think Twilight Princess has a glitch where if you save in a room where there's a cannon,
Yeah.
when you load that save, there's no door to get out. So Nintendo had a system where you can mail them your Wii card, your SD
Yeah.
card. They would patch the
I
SD
remember
card and
that.
send it back to you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They it's funny because now any Zelda game I played since then, whenever there is water temple, I do get like a pit in my stomach, like
Yeah.
oh fuck.
Yeah.
And I'm a grown man now, and it still is like shit, I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
do this.
yeah.
Anyways.
Hope the new one has one.
Another question. Tom Gosby sent an email in. He asked, "What's your favorite mission in a game?" He talks about the bank heist level in Payday. Talks about the Final Thieves Guild mission in Oblivion, which I do remember was cool. You have to like sneak into like a castle and steal something. But any like big set piece or mission in a video game that really sticks out and you remember fondly?
Man, that's a good question.
That is a really good question.
For me, like the Ravenholm sequence in Half-Life 2. Did you ever play Half-Life 2?
No.
This was again before the whole zombie fatigue thing. In Half-Life 2, the whole game is fantastic. But there's this part in Half-Life 2 where you're supposed to get through a town of zombies, and you don't really have guns, you just have the gravity gun, whatever. But the town is booby-trapped, so there's zombies that like are super fast, run towards you, and then there's constantly like death traps. You're supposed to run from zombies while avoiding all these traps, and like, and then there's a guy, a sniper who like lives in the town, a sniper who helps you out at times. But just that whole set piece, you're trying to solve puzzles, avoid zombies and everything. But yeah, the whole Ravenholm sequence.
I remember playing Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and there's a scene in that. It's kind of like the equivalent of Kakariko Village from Ocarina of Time. I don't remember the name of the village in Twilight Princess, but as soon as you enter, there's all these like little children running around, and then the bad guys, I don't know if you remember, very cinematically come like riding in on their big warthogs.
Yeah.
And they like swoop up this little girl and they abduct her. And you're kind of like not expecting this, but you're suddenly thrown into this mission where you have to get on your horse and chase them down. And you chase them into the middle of this field, and it turns into a very epic like sword and horse battle.
sounds cool.
And then it culminates. Did you ever play Twilight Princess?
No, not yet.
Dude, it's my favorite Zelda game.
It's
great.
It culminates
We are
on-
like alone on that, but I agree completely.
It culminates on you chase them to this old like ruined bridge, and then he stops, turns around, and draws a sword and like basically challenges you.
Yeah.
And then you have to conclude this whole sequence on this epic duel on a bridge.
Which
And
is
it
on
is-
fire too.
And it is the most cinematic, I think, experience Zelda has ever done
Yes.
in any of
That's
their
so
games.
cool. Yeah, it's like a samurai.
I think
Yeah.
Twilight Princess, Twilight Princess came at the end of a long string of 3D Zelda games, so there were some people who played it who were like, okay, I've done a lot of this before. But I think it deserves credit on its own. It perfected all that stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Moments like that, exactly that. Even the last boss fight is on that level. It's just really, really great. I think for me, my favorite quest, on its own, like there's moments or a boss or whatever that I really like, but I think my favorite, just like a level on its own, what stands out in my mind, just at least right now, is Metal Gear Solid 4 Return to Shadow Moses. When your only hope to go forward is getting something back from where you went in the first game, and they're all like looking at each other like, are you kidding? We're going back there. Everything that plays out there is really nostalgic, and you take a picture somewhere and you see something you remember from the original game. That was all really. It was like exploring a dream. It was really cool. So anyway, that's probably mine.
There is a level on Donkey Kong Country that in the mine shaft.
Oh, yeah.
Anything in the mine shaft,
Yeah.
I fucking loved. In that cart, jumping over the things
Yeah.
and whatever.
And
I loved it.
A lot of that's commonplace now, but at that time there really wasn't another thing like that.
No, I remember every time,
Yeah.
like my brother and I would switch off, and every time that happened, we'd always like fight over who got to do the mine shaft
Yeah.
levels.
And then
Those
in
levels
Donkey
are
Kong
great.
Country 2, my favorite was you go onto like a haunted theme park and you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
thing's fucking
Yeah.
cool. That game's cool.
It's really cool.
The other mission I just remembered in Fallout 3, I don't know, Derek, you might know this, is there's a vault you go into and everyone's in like a cryogenic like sleep chamber. And you find out they've all been killed. So you decide what happens. You go into this like sleep chamber and you
Yeah.
enter this dream town, and it starts out very like almost like like Leave It to Beaver. It's black and white, and everyone. It's an idyllic town. Everyone's all smiles, whatever. And then
I've
there's
seen
like
this.
one girl who follows you around, and like it turns out that this dream town, it's almost like a Matrix type thing, whatever. But it's like this girl ended up like trapping everyone in this dream town and killed them off, so she's the only one left alive in this vault.
Whoa.
And like she tries to kill you within this dream town. It's like a Twilight Zone episode, but yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
was
awesome.
really,
That was
really
really
cool.
cool.
But again, it's funny with all the Oblivions, Skyrim, all those Bethesda games. The main stories, I don't even remember the plot, but all the little side quests
quests are the
that's the meat of
best
it.
part,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then one last question from Colton. What's your favorite licensed game? Based on a movie, TV show, or otherwise licensed game? I mean, for me as a kid, I played GoldenEye.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that game.
too.
I
I never played that. I mean, I have played it, but I wasn't
That was the
really
ultimate
into
party game. When,
Yeah.
Because that was like do when you were younger. That was it. Yeah.
Because as a kid, I had Encore Action, which was like a cheaper version of HBO, but they just showed action movies all day. So it would be James Bond movies and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And so I watched James Bond movies a lot, and then played GoldenEye. And like there's just a few levels I played over and over again. There's one level where you're on a tank, and again,
Yeah.
as a kid, the fact that you're in a tank in a city and just run people over was fun. But yeah, I played a shitload of Golden Knights. That's probably my favorite.
I don't know if
licensed
you
game.
ever played or remember Spider-Man the movie 2.
Oh,
the game.
Yeah.
yes.
That was
Yes.
like Grand Theft Auto, but
That game
you're
was pretty good.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then also Deadliest Warrior on the History Channel. 2 badass games on Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is fucking amazing.
I think for licensed game, there's legitimately great. There's a great licensed game and then a great movie game, depending on what kind of game you want to play. I think, obviously, I want to say the Batman series, Arkham Asylum.
Oh, yeah.
But Arkham Asylum is still my favorite. But I love the other ones, Arkham Knight and Arkham City and all that. So I'd probably pick those. But in terms of just shock, like, here's how shit this movie was and how much fun I had playing a game. Wolverine. Honestly, Wolverine, whatever, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, that's the
was a blast to play for a shit movie. Anyway.
Battlefront, the first Battlefront.
Oh, yeah.
I think
yeah.
was my,
That's a good one.
the first time I played that, I was like, this is all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it, and I was so excited. So.
Yeah, well, it was kind of, it was a chance to be just like
Yeah.
ordinary
And
grunts
I liked
in
that
Star
I
Wars.
wasn't Luke Skywalker. I was
Exactly.
just a stormtrooper, and I thought that was so cool just to be
Yeah.
the nothing characters.
Yeah.
It was awesome. Oh, I liked it.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
just to explore, no, it's good.
Well, we explored a lot today. Derek and I talked. We talked about playing with our poop or playing with our buttholes.
Wow.
You missed out on a lot of
I
deep
did miss out on
philosophical
that.
conversations.
Wow, bummer
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. I may return again. Send in more emails to neighborhoodgameclub@gmail.com. The link is there. You know what to do.
Doobly-doo.
Yeah, the
Link is in the doobly-doo.
When will I return? I don't know. Street Fighter 5's coming out soon. I may disappear.
I didn't know that was like days away.
That's like next month.
My
yeah.
brother is like, oh man, I hope I can make rent this month. I was like, why? He's like, I took so many days off, for Street Fighter.
Wow.
So
Jeez
that could be
Louise.
you.
It's real. I have a PS4.
Everyone
I have a
start carving
PS4
your-
fight stick ready to go.
Wow.
Bought a big ass one. I'm excited for it.
I saw Dominic, your brother, put something on Twitter. It's like, 15 days till Street Fighter,
Oh, yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
it may be. And it's funny because I do the same thing, but it's the Olympic Games coming out. So
Yeah, those are his Olympic
Yeah.
That's his Olympics.
Yeah.
It's Street Fighter. And yeah.
every 4 years.
Every 4 years, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe another 4 years till we get another episode. But I'm gonna keep on playing video games because it's my escape. It's like the Matrix. Can you quote the Matrix? Any line?
He knows no lines.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything.
What?
Quotes. What's a quote?
Cut.
The world is bullshit. Trinity.
And you are the one.
That's right.
And I'm. Sean and I are those twins.
Yeah.
Samurai.
My favorite line is when they go, "You're fucked, Neo."
Oh, favorite license game. Enter the Matrix.
Yeah, that had some serious.
The ending was great.
I know Kung Fu.
What you say, what you say, what